All right, so I want to talk about the projections, the Justice League box office projections that came out a few days ago. Some sites are projecting 150 is going to be its opening weekend, $150 million, which is a little lower than Batman vs Superman. So Batman vs Superman was like 160, I think. So it's about right. As far as projections go, people are just making guesses based on what's happened before. They're not really based on any like real evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like they have no insight onto how many people are gonna go see this movie. Sometimes they'll do like a survey of like 1,000 people, and of that 1,000 people, they'll ask them what movie are they looking forward to seeing, and that's how they determine how much money a movie's gonna make. Like that's how they'll do it sometimes. It was just fucking ridiculous. A survey of 1,000 people will not tell you how 100 million people are gonna, act. But it's projected to make 150 million. It's opening weekend, and that's modest, but that's pretty good. That's like right in line with what it should make. What I think people need to start doing with Justice League is like temper your fucking expectations on how much money this movie's gonna make. Some people are already starting to say that if it doesn't make more than Avengers, it's a failure, and they're just being assholes. Like they're just being assholes because it's impossible to make what Avengers made. Avengers made 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. There's no way Justice League can do that. Justice League only has 4 weeks to itself. If you go and look up the schedule of upcoming movie releases, Star Wars comes out 4 weeks, 4 weekends after Justice League, I believe. I think that's what it was. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think that's what it was. So, not even like 2 months after Justice League, there's gonna be a Star Wars fucking movie, and we all know how many people are gonna rush to Star Wars, right? Like they haven't seen Star Wars before. So Justice League has 4 weekends to itself to make the majority of its money, and for all the crap Batman vs Superman gets, it had legs. You know what I'm saying? It was in theaters for over 12 weekends, just over 12 weekends. So that's 3 months. That's fucking 3 months in theaters. That's pretty good. And it made 800 million, 160 its opening weekend, 200 something worldwide its opening weekend. I think, or was it 300? I don't know. I don't know the exact. I don't have it in front of me. I'm just going off memory, which isn't that great. But yeah, so if people are saying this needs to make a 1.5 billion, they're fucking being assholes because there's no way in hell it could even come close to that. And if you're thinking it's going to cross a billion, you need to get your head checked because that's not going to happen either. People really need to start thinking, realistically about this. All right, Justice League comes out less than 3 weeks after Thor Ragnarok. So that means Thor Ragnarok in its fourth weekend will be going against Justice League, and there's going to be Marvel tards that are going to go to fucking Thor when Justice League is in theaters. That's going to happen. So that's like 20, 25 million right there. That's going to be taken away from Justice League. Batman vs Superman, I don't think they had that problem. They didn't have another major superhero film competing with them, on that same weekend. So, like best case scenario is that Justice League makes just about the same amount of money as Batman vs Superman makes. In fact, if it made 800 million, that would be a major success. That would be great. Like it wouldn't be, oh, that's a disappointment, 800 million. It would be fucking fantastic if Justice League made $800 million in its run in theaters. Because the reality is, in order for a movie to be successful, it needs to double its budget. in theaters, in the box office. That's that's what it has to do to be successful. That's the reality. Okay? So people can throw out their bullshit. It needs to make, $1 billion. It needs to make 1.5 billion. That's fucking horse shit. It doesn't need to make that. The film costs, well, I mean, it's estimated to cost between 200 and 250 million dollars is its budget. Its advertising budget doesn't look like it's going to be more than $100 million. I mean, we already see that the fucking John Campias of the world are already complaining that it's not being advertised enough. As if people don't know Justice League is coming out. Everybody knows Justice League is coming out. All right? They don't need to advertise it that much in America. They only need to advertise it around the world. That's all they got to do. As far as America goes, it doesn't fucking matter because everybody already knows it's coming out. So I would guess its advertising budget would be somewhere between 100 million and 200 million. So if you add together their production and advertising budget, that's $450 million that Warner Brothers has spent on Justice League. And for it to be successful, it's got to double that, right? So it would have to make between $800 and $900 million. This is not fucking complicated shit. You don't have to be a fucking, a professor to figure this shit out. You don't have to be a fucking scientist. You don't have to be a fucking, an insider to figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? It needs to make between $800 and $900 million to be a success, and for Warner Bros. To be like, wow, this is a major success for us. We're going to continue this franchise. The disaster situation for Justice League is that the film doesn't make $600 million. That would be a disaster. If the film didn't make $600 million, it would be a disaster. We would still get a Batman movie. We still might get the Batgirl movie. But as far as a Justice League sequel, that probably wouldn't happen for a while. Which sucks. But, that's the reality. Opening weekend, the projections are 150 right now. That's probably going to go up or down as we get closer. So, me personally, I think Justice League has a great opportunity to make $200 million its opening weekend, depending on how many people rewatch Thor Ragnarok, over Justice League. Which would be fucking crazy. I can't, it's just because I'm just a DC fanboy and whatnot, but, I can't imagine somebody, saying, yeah, let's see Thor again over a Justice League movie, the first one in history. I can't imagine people being like, let's go see the third Thor movie over the first Justice League movie ever. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I would think it would make closer to $200 million its opening weekend, and worldwide it would probably make around $300 million. $300 million to $400 million its opening weekend, which would be huge, and it needs to make that much. In order for it to make over $800 million to $1 billion, it would need to have a huge monster opening weekend. That would be its only hope, because then you have you only have 4-5 weekends until Star Wars. And when Star Wars comes out, Justice League's numbers are going to plummet. They're going to plummet that weekend when Star Wars comes out. It might just end its fucking theatrical run. Who knows? This is why Warner Brothers wanted to move the goddamn movie to March. This is why. They know that releasing Justice League in November with a big movie coming out in a month, within a month, they're taking a risk that it might not make as much money as it could make in March. If they released it in March with 2 full months all to itself, yeah, it could easily make $800 million to $1 billion. It could easily do that. And it wouldn't even have to be a good movie. It could just be a complete dog shit movie, and it would still make that much. This is the problem now we're in, because now Justice League coming out in November with 2 monster films on both sides of it that are, Thor's going to make a lot of money, Star Wars is going to make a ridiculous amount of money, money it doesn't deserve. and Justice League is caught in the middle. And the only thing that could really, push Justice League over the top is if the critical reception is so overwhelmingly, positive that everybody has to go see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have to be like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for this movie to make $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? And that's not possible. It's not possible. I've accepted the fact that this movie's probably not even going to get 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. So we can expect mixed reviews for Justice League. And we can expect that it's going to make 150 at least. That's like the minimum for its opening weekend is 150 million. That's the minimum. Maximum would be like 200 million. That would be like the maximum. Maybe 250. That would be crazy. That would be like fucking box office shattering numbers. $250 million. That would be insane for its opening weekend. That would be like Avengers numbers. Because I think Avengers made around 250 million its opening weekend just in America. So, people gotta temper their expectations, man. They don't fucking... So many things have to go right for Justice League to make $1 billion. So many things. And it's just not possible. It's just not possible. There's too much bias. There's too much animosity towards the DCEU. It's just not going to happen, And the film shouldn't be judged on whether or not it makes $1 billion, What we should be worried about is if it doubles its budget. If it doubles its budget, we're good. We're gonna get more DC movies. We're gonna get another Justice League movie. It's gonna happen. So, guy, can you hear those bugs outside? That's Florida for you. That's fucking, I don't know what the fuck. I think they're crickets. I don't know what the fuck they are. They're loud as fuck. And you only hear them during the daytime when it's hot. They make this loud ass sound. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, but don't anyone feed you any trash that these movies have to make $1 billion or 1.5 billion. That's ridiculous. Justice League, it would be a big success if it made what Batman vs. Superman made. It would be a huge success. And people bitched about that, Batman vs. Superman didn't make enough. Are you fucking kidding me? It almost made $900 million. What more can you do? They almost tripled their budget. I think they did triple their budget. So, that's a major success. What more could you ask for? People just sound so dumb when they throw out that $1 billion mark. It's just like, Jesus Christ. But I guarantee it, when we get close to this movie, that's all you're going to hear. Oh, it has to make $1 billion for it to succeed. It has to make this amount, or Warner Brothers isn't going to be happy. Our inside sources say this is their standard. It's fucking horseshit. Warner Brothers would never release what they actually want the movie to do, right? They would never tell anybody a certain amount of money the movie has to make. You know what I'm saying? They would never need to say that, alright? Because you know how we know that they wouldn't need to say that? Because if it didn't make enough money, they wouldn't make a sequel. That's how we know, right? If it does make enough money, they make the sequel. That's how we know it met their standards. You know what I'm saying? That's how we know. So, it's fucking... And I can already hear the John Campias saying all these fucking box office numbers it has to do and whatnot. It's just fucking horseshit. All it has to do is double its budget. I'm going in circles. What do y'all think about that? How much money do you think Justice League should make? How much do you want it to make? And what's realistic? What's realistic? What is... what's the more likely thing to happen? It can't break of the Avengers, the first movie. It can't break what that movie did. You know what I'm saying? It cannot break $1.5 billion. So realistically, what can it fucking make? And I'm thinking between 800 and 900 million. There you go. If it did that, it'd be a huge success. And everybody in Warner Brothers would be happy, and we would all get sequels, and nothing would be the fucking. Everything would be fucking great. So, I don't know. That's all I gotta say about that. I'll see y'all next one. Bye.